everyone. Welcome to our presentation today. We're really excited to be here. My name is Anitra Bishop, and I am the Archivist and Curator at the Columbia Memorial Space Center in Downey, California, and I am one of the two people on this project.
I am Merrissa Hess. I am an Americorps VISTA working with the Makers and Mentors Network at the Columbia Memorial Space Center. I'm in charge of Maker Initiatives.
So we're here to talk to you guys today about our new program, our new initiative called Making History, where we're trying to preserve the history of PPE creation in the maker community during the time of COVID-19. So we're just going to talk to you about our project a little bit, and then if you have any questions at the end, we'll be more than happy to answer them. So this is an Arcana Initiative put on by Columbia Memorial Space Center. We're here, we're in Downey. We're currently close to the public, like a lot of other museums are right now, but we are generating a lot of online content, this project being one of them. So definitely keep an eye out for things coming from the Columbia Memorial Space Center. A little bit more about us as a museum. We are a mid-sized museum located in the city of Downey on the original North American Aviation / Rockwell International site where the Apollo and Shuttle spacecraft were built. We are a living memorial to the Columbia Shuttle disaster. We're also host of the Los Angeles City of STEM Festival. It is a very large festival. Last year, our kickoff festival day was attended by about 10,000 individuals. We were expecting to surpass that number this year, but because of COVID, we moved our April date to September, and we are going to be doing a virtual conference, so keep an eye out for that. It's really exciting. And the mission of the Space Center is that through world-class programs and engaging exhibits, the Space Center strives to ignite a community of critical and creative thinkers. And what community is more critical and creative in thinking than the maker community?
The Space Center has been working really hard to expand our maker programming. This year, we're hosting a virtual maker summer camp. And we also partnered with Hitachi to bring Manufacturing Day to the Space Center for the first time last year. We hope to maybe make that an ongoing thing. And then we've also worked on 3D on the Go, which is a printing curriculum program we host with the Boys and Girls Club, where we provide them 3D printers and we teach them how to use them. And then they bring those to the different centers and they teach their kids how to use them.
And to date, we've been able to actually give away 10 3D printers through that program to people within the community, which is really awesome. Making History is actually a two-part project. When we first envisioned it, it was not a two-part project. It has grown just in the past few weeks of us creating it. The main goal of this project is to collect and preserve the stories of the individuals and companies 3D printing PPE for frontline workers during the COVID-19 pandemic. We saw all of this amazing outreach from the maker community, and we knew that we wanted to document it somehow. But it took us a minute to figure out how we're going to do that. We're a space museum, so in what way can we curate that is meaningful to us as a museum and meaningful to our patrons? And because of our outreach to the maker community over the past year, sort of focusing on the maker community response seemed like a good idea to us as the best way to approach this project. So initially, it was just an archival project, but we have decided to make it an archival project and a web series, which we'll talk a little bit more about. So on the archival project end, we have a very, very specific and a very narrow collecting concept for this because we don't have a ton of room in our archive. But like I said, we wanted to find some meaningful way to document what's happening. So we were inspired by the generosity pouring out of the maker community. How could you not be inspired by it? And so what happened was the collection we came up with a clear and concise collecting premise. We're collecting 3 things for the archive. The first is collecting the stories of individuals and companies 3D printing PPE during the COVID pandemic. We're recording those digitally, so the stories can be typed and sent to us. They can be an audio recording or they can be a video recording. People are also just emailing us their stories, and then we're cutting and pasting those sort of into Word documents. But everything for this part of the collection is going to be digital. That way it's not taking up physical space in our archive. The second thing we're collecting are the digital files actually used for 3D printing. So that way we're hoping that down the line we'll have a really wide range of what different kinds of PPE people were printing, and not just what different kinds of PPE, but the variations for each PPE within each of those categories. Again, this is all digital, so it's really easy for us to be able to save that information without taking up physical space. And then the final component is collecting PPE misprints. We talked about trying to physically collect PPE, but Merrissa made a really good point that we don't want to take away precious PPE from people who need it. And so she actually suggested that we collect the misprints. And everyone loved the idea, and we thought it was a great way to, one, make sure that we have some sort of physical item, so that way if we want to do exhibits down the line, or if researchers want something more tangible to look at down the line, we have that. Two, we're able to, again, save PPE for people who really need it. And three, we can make sure that the PPE that is misprinted doesn't just get tossed in the trash. It's able to go somewhere else, so that way it doesn't feel like a waste of time that this misprint happened. It is going someplace meaningful, and it is going to be with other misprints that we're really hoping not just show that people are physically making these things, but also remind people that 3D printing is an art. A lot of people think you can just go hit print and you suddenly have a perfect model airplane. That's not the case. It's a lot of trial and error. And so sort of highlighting this point that I think a lot of people who outside of the maker community don't quite understand is a really interesting way to make our collection, again, meaningful and relatable to the general public.
The second part is a web series, and we initially designed this to highlight the stories of those individuals and companies who are donating misprints to the Archival project. It quickly became apparent that there's much more to this story than just people printing. So we've kind of had it become a forum to speak out about wider topics related to creating PPE, including difficulties faced by individuals versus companies, because scale is going to have a huge impact on this. The manufacturing of non-PPE, so cloth-based masks and other things. We've done like ear savers and face shields and things that aren't necessarily the traditional masks, I think, that most people think of when they think of 3D printed PPE. How local governments are responding to this. We are located in Downey, which is in Los Angeles County, and Los Angeles has had a pretty amazing response to PPE creation and collection through the city and the county of Los Angeles. So we'd like to bring that story in as well. And then also we want to talk about the potential liabilities that could be faced in creating PPE and distributing that to the public. So our first episode it's an interview with a local 3D printing company called Co-Create, and we're really excited about it. They've actually designed their own vacuum PPE mask, and so it's a little bit different than the open source things that are out there. So we're excited to share their story.
Then for upcoming episodes, we'll be talking to the person who runs 3D printing at the Escondido Library and talking about sort of the restrictions for working in a public library and doing this, but also being able to have this equipment and run it. And then we also have two attorneys to talk about the potential liability issues on deck as well. So really trying to branch out there and make a really interesting forum, since we're able to do that with the web series. We're not confined sort of in the way that we are confined with the Archival collection. Our biggest goal today is to get the word out there. It's hard to start an initiative like this for any institution, no matter what size. So we're hoping to find people who can give us ideas, who want to participate, who can say, oh, hey, I know someone who might want to participate, or even if there's other ideas floating around out there for other episodes for our web series. We would love to collaborate with you in whatever way possible, because we are trying to make this as big and wide-reaching a project as possible. Definitely, we encourage you to give us an email. That's my email and Merissa's email on the screen right now. You can also contact us through the Columbia Memorial Space Center's social media. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. We have a really great social media team, so if you send a direct message to any of those accounts, we will get those things sent to us. Also, the museum has its own info email address, so if you don't know how to find us, you're like, oh, I remember the museum, and go to their webpage, they'll forward those emails to us. There's lots of ways to get a hold of us, and we encourage you in whatever way possible to do that. And also, we just literally last night realized, like, why haven't we already made this a hashtag initiative? So if you do have anything that you think is related, if you post anything on your own social media related to 3D printing PPE or sort of these topics, we would love if you hashtag making history so we can see it and other people can be aware of it. We're really excited. And that's sort of what we're doing over at the Columbia Memorial Space Center. And that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We really appreciate it. We wanted to keep it as short as possible because I know that there are a lot of other great webinars going on right now for the Virtual Maker Faire, so we didn't want to give anyone Zoom tiredness. I know we're all in a lot of Zoom meetings, so everyone take care, enjoy, and keep an eye out for more projects coming from the Columbia Memorial Space Center. Thanks so much, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.